All right, so I see we have Assistant Chief. I think that's there. I think that's for your presentation, right? Is that your? Okay. So we have Chief McHugh, Assistant Chief Lubowicki, Assistant Chief Lenhart, Fire Marshal Dawson. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, Joe.
So I understand you have a presentation, and we're going to go through that, and then we'll probably have some questions for you.
Yeah, we have just a few slides on each of our sections, and we try to work most of the questions in, but if not, we're here to answer whatever you need. You want to set up the, oh, it's up.
It's up.
Oh, even better. You got it? Thank you, Agnes. All right. So, good afternoon, committee. The first slide we have here is just, there's some questions on our call volume and why it's increasing. I wish I had a better answer other than it just is. But we have seen equilateral across all of our types of responses, the same kind of, kind of 5-10% jump over the last couple of years. I will say that accidents seem to be one of the big things. I think, Tom, 166 more? Yeah, 166 more car accident responses.
23 to 25.
Yeah, over the last couple of years. So, no real driver that we can find with our data, other than we're just busier. And I wish we could say, it's just more fire alarms being installed, but it just seems to be across the board altogether. This year in our operational budget, our request a little bit above your guideline. We apologize for that, lower than the last couple years. We're at 3.38 with what we're bringing to you today. Next. First is in 201, the administration, the top of that, I just wanted to point out, we handle a lot of paperwork, especially a permit and plan review driven things for the town of Greenwich. And as we have added things in the last couple of years, the fire department has taken over temporary propane permits as well. It fell out of the building code and it's still part of the fire code. We've taken that over on top of some of the other things that we charge for. Blasting is something that we're doing a lot more of. I have a couple more slides on that. We're charging out for private fire watch now, like the police do with their blue payroll. That takes a lot more of our office staff, and I just kind of wanted to point out the good things that our office staff does, but it's becoming a very, very large number that we're kind of trying to have some metrics on going forward. The next thing, if you can go back. The next thing there is, there's some questions on the water bill, and I am not a hydraulic engineer. However, the water bill is kind of confusing, and I know that there's a big buffer in there, about 20%. We have, the last couple of years, been looking towards the volatility of what they tell us the increase could be. So for most years, it's somewhere between 13 and 18% that it could go up. And then when Pura gets involved, we have the WRA, I apologize for not having it out already, which is our water revenue adjustment. That is, right now, it's set at, they take 3.5% off our bill. Then there's the WICA, which is the water infrastructure adjustment. That adds 7% back to the bill, to whatever our bill is. And then we pay by inch foot of what we have. We don't pay for water. I apologize that I put that up there. We just pay for the amount that we have and the days in the billing cycle. That's why the number always fluctuates so much. So when we look at this, I look at a worst case scenario, which I think our highest month in the last couple of years has been 110,000. We then take that times 12, and then we figure out what the proposed rate increase would be if there is no Pura interacting on, the municipalities, and that's how we come up with that number, so that there is enough there.
Okay, sorry, you lost me a little bit. We don't pay for the water we have? How,
No, as a municipality, we pay for the amount of fire hydrants we have and the amount of linear feet of water mains. And it's broken down into the sizes. It's kind of a big thing, but our water bill that we get for the town of Greenwich, actually, even though it's a larger number than most people get at their house, actually is much simpler because there's only 2 lines on the entire bill when we get it. So I'll just hand it up if anybody wants to see what a municipal one looks like. It's very exciting stuff. And even when they send it to a municipality, when we get the letter that says, we're looking for an 18% increase, it could be a lot. Now, right now, they tried to merge, Clarion tried to merge with Regional Water, and the article came out back in December. I think they were saying they were looking for a 42% rate increase. That's probably not going to get approved by Pura. But when they gave the plan on what the rates would be, they were saying it was going to be around an 8.65% increase, which we would be able to absorb in what we already have in that fund. Next, please. The one big item that we have in 201 that we were requesting for an increase is it's a new line, is $25,000 for a company that does specific fire department related ergonomics and injury prevention reduction. And they've worked, the company that we're looking at works with a lot of departments in Fairfield County. Sarah Beckert runs that company, the First Response Health and Wellness, and has across the board reduced many departments, including she won a KERMA award last year for the work she did with the Norwalk Fire Department. So now, I know I had some questions on injury stuff, and in theory, yes, our numbers for injuries were down last year, but the injuries that we did have were more severe. And so when we look at injuries in public, in the fire service, I'm not necessarily looking so much as the amount of injuries. So there was 10 this year, 5 this year. We're looking for the hours lost. So in fiscal year 24, there were more injuries, but we only lost around 6,000 hours to injury. And I say only as in each shift is 12 hours, et cetera. But in 25, we had a lot less injuries, a lot more severe. So we ended up losing over 8,200 hours because we had larger injuries that took longer for people to come back. This year, through half of, well, actually, I did it today just to double check. So it's fiscal year 26, we're only at 1,100 hours lost to injury so far this year. So we are doing better anyways, but we would like to bring on this company so that we don't have those 8,000 hour spikes of injuries and be able to get people back faster. Our training department for the career and volunteer over the last year did over 500 training sessions, which accumulated over 16,000 hours worth of training. And the only thing that I really have to note here is we have a request to increase the general maintenance line to be able to do some concrete repairs to the training center. A few years ago, we asked for to be able to do a engineering study of it, which is required by the NFPA ever so many years. And these are some things that we found, and we put it here in operating as we don't know how long any of those repairs would last, if they would make it onto the capital type of schedule. Fire marshal, two things.
Sorry, Charlie, I'm just going to stop you for a second. You're going a little fast, which
Okay.
is fine. But we're trying to make this a little informal, so if there's any questions, I just want to clarify for this, is this the 18,000 increase on,
Yes,
okay, on 401? Is that what this is?
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Just checking myself.
All right, 204. So 204, this is a request to put in a line so that we have a fund for repairing dry hydrants. They are checked every year, and for the last couple of years, we've had really good luck. Haven't had many that need repair. We've noticed that there are a couple that we are going to have to do some repairs on, and there is a state program where we can get up to $1,500 back per a repaired dry hydrant in a rural setting. So we're looking for that as well, but just looking for seed money to be able to start fixing some of these hydrants in the backcountry that we have put in and that we maintain. We also do have some dry hydrant cisterns, things that are on private property that people have installed on their own. We ask them if we can go out and test them, make sure that they work for them as well. But these are specific to the ones that are owned by the town of Greenwich.
Can you contextualize that? How many hydrants are there and how many do you believe are dry?
We test about 50 every year during the summertime.
Yeah, they're tested in August.
What's that?
Altogether, how many? 100?
I would say about 75.
Yeah. We try to test 2/3 of them a year. We believe we have around 75 without having it in front of us. And we try to test at least 50 a year. And right now, the number that we know need repair is under 5.
We can get the exact.
Yeah, we can get the exact number for you. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about the proposed change in the TOO now, or are we going to do that later? Because this is one of those ones where you're asking for sort of a repurpose of a firefighter position to put in an additional reviewer, I think, if I'm reading the TOO.
That was last year.
Is that last year?
Yeah.
I'm looking at,
It was an interim basis. Yeah.
okay, all right, so this is good. I wasn't here last year, so this is good to know. Joe, you weren't here either. Neither were you, Doug. All right, so let's just clarify that point then. So the 1.0 position for the plan reviewer was put in last year?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So that accounts for the increase in the 101?
It was a-
Yes, it wasn't shown correctly in the, on the budgeting side of things.
It was sort of a mid-year reorg,
Okay,
a number of changes.
okay, and is there anything to note in the, is the 25,000, is this for the 149 account?
Correct.
Is that what this is?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I'm just trying to keep up with you. All right, we're moving on to,
Laura, the quicker I go, the less questions you get in, right?
I don't know, is that your strategy? All right, where are we? Okay. All right, we just did fire marshal, so now we're on 205, is that right?
No, we're still on 204.
Okay, we're still on
I just
204.
wanted to make a point. You know, last year we were over in overtime for the fire marshals. This year, we're going to be over again in that. In the fiscal year '27 budget, we did not increase that number. We left it where it was. And it's really looking at the metrics of it. So we have two things going on right now that we think that are really driving the amount of overtime we have. One is we've had a lot of retirements out of the fire marshal's office, trying to get new people in on top of adding the position. And on top of that, with the amount of permits we have been doing, as well as a large increase in the construction and building in the town of Greenwich, and large project-based, right? So these are all larger buildings. They take a lot more inspections, a lot more time. They're all on time constraints for the things that have to be done. That is driving a lot of this overtime. And so we don't feel at this time it might be something that's going to be continuing in the long term, which is why there isn't anything added there. But the slide that we have here is showing, you know, at this point, we're going to be doubling our permit-driven inspections from last year. And that is kind of based on some of these large projects that we have. Because even if it is a town project, some of that might require us to do work on the weekends, and I have to hire back my union employees to do that. So that is what's driving that, and that is why we're not seeking anything more at this time.
Is this a good time to ask about your revenue assumption? Or do you want to come back to that?
Sure. So I cannot control when people will request to build in the town of Greenwich, or if it'll get past planning and zoning, or when it'll get to us. So it's very hard. You know, you could read in the paper, you can hear scuttlebutt about large projects, but until they actually come to fruition and they have a schedule set, we don't know when that's going to be. And so saying that we've only been collecting plan review fees for, I believe, 2 to 3 years now, it's very hard for us to come up with a general number, especially since, last year, most of our large projects were schools, so they didn't show a price attached to it, right? This year, we have a lot more of these external, and we can see the price that we've brought in along with that. So I think it's really hard for us to gauge now what that would be, and I would also not want to be in a position where I, overpromise and underdeliver on how much I think is going to come back in for the plan review part of things.
Just, let me just level set with context on this, is their plan and review revenue is already 200,000 over last year's full year, or the current year's full year budget. And just looking at that chart you have there, I can't read that far, unfortunately, but is that just the number of permits up, or is that value of permits up?
So this is just showing the amount of inspections that we believe we're going to have to do overall, but also including every inspection that has to be done with either a rebuild or a brand-new building. How many inspections for a new building?
It all depends. So like Central Middle School, you're looking at probably anywhere between 300 and 400 during the course of the project.
Yeah, so,
So can you just repeat that?
yeah, so we might have to do 300 to 400 spot inspections for each building as it's going up, depending on where it is in the construction cycle, and what needs approval along with the building department as it progresses to the next stage.
Okay, so what we're saying is we're keeping, and I'm on, just for everyone can follow along, page 7, on the revenue side, the fire marshal's showing budgeted,
4612.
yeah, 44612, 700,000, which is the same budget as we have in this year's fiscal budget. So you're saying that's reasonable, you may have some upside based on this year's, but you're not sure about the pace of the construction
Correct.
that you're seeing?
Correct, not at this time.
Okay.
And even if you looked in at the packet that I sent for further follow-up, there's, I believe, twice as many blasting permits as the last year too, which would be indicative of the amount of, full projects that are taking place.
Sorry, and just to again put that in context, this is purely volume driven. The pricing has not changed, and the process by which permits are collected or the speed to collect has not changed.
Correct. The project manager, they pay based on, per thousand of assessed value of the project, and that includes all those 300 times we might have to go to the site or go to a meeting or make a phone call or any of that goes along with it. And the only thing that would be standalone from that would be the blasting, because that is a state fee that we do not control. So that is anytime there's going to be a blaster on a project, it's a $60 fee.
And has that been well-received, that fee? I mean, people understand how much work goes into reviewing and inspecting. Have you gotten any pushback from constituents about that?
Actually, the only questions I've had this year is it going up this year? Not.
In
worried
terms
about
of
what it-
cost per assessed
Correct.
value? Okay.
It's more, are you gonna increase the fees this year? It's not about, why do I have to pay this fee?
Okay. Harry?
Yeah, I heard you say you're reinstituting a charge for Firewatch. What is Firewatch?
We're not reinstituting it. It's always been there. It just wasn't handled by the town of Greenwich. And so in the last CBA, we were able to roll it in so that it codifies that we have people working in the capacity of Greenwich firefighters. So there'll be a need for a fire watch for a non-town building or a non-town event, whether it's because that is a building that is not made to have 400 people in it, or they're putting up a 10,000 square foot tent and they're going to have pyrotechnics, or somebody's sprinkler system went down in the middle of the night and people live there and there needs to be fire protection for people sleeping at night. So what happens is the fire department will then bill whoever the property owner, building owner, or responsible party is, and then collect the funds, and then, but the payment of the firefighters happens through the town of Greenwich. It's the same system that is used for the blue payroll for the police.
What's the red payroll?
Yeah,
Yes.
Because a couple of years ago, you had some red payroll admin fees, but not this year and not next year. Shouldn't you be doing the same thing the police do, which is to charge
They're built in there, yes.
processing fee?
Yes, there is a processing fee, I believe, of $10 on top of what the hourly rate is, yes.
All right, great, thank you.
So are you asking whether or not it should be zero, or are you comfortable?
Well, it seems like, so as long as they're collecting a premium, that's
Okay,
fine.
all right. All right, thank you.
Firefighting force, this is our, the line that handles most of the career fire based activities based on the CBA. And so the one thing that I wanted to point out as we did that restructuring last year is the question came up on were we going to see a sticker shock from more overtime because we are taking, instead of having 24 firefighters on a shift, where only 22 are required, so 2 people can take off and not have to replace them, to going to 23 firefighters on a shift where all of them have to be there. Was there going to be any difference in overtime? And in the last couple of years, we have run so short. We've hired 10 firefighters last year. We've hired 2 so far this year. We believe in the, we've hired 6 this year. We're going to have to hire probably, it looks like, at least 5 or 6 in the academy class next year, because we are in that cycle of replacement. On top of all the injuries, we lost those 8,000 hours. So we felt that we would be able to, as the staff got back to the number that we needed, and we can work on the injuries, and now we no longer have the COVID vacation holdover issue, because we had a lot more people using vacation time that they couldn't use during COVID, that we were going to be able to kind of hold this line for a little while. And so far, it looks like it's doing very well. I did meet with our liaisons at the end of the first quarter, and our numbers are pretty much exactly where they were then. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that we can't have injuries or things to be an issue, but we thought that we were going to be able to keep the overtime in the area of the 3 million, and that's where we are. So the increase on this year to go from 3 million to 3.1 is directly indicative to the CBA. And so if there's a raise, we put it in as 3%. We're in negotiations right now. The reason why we just kind of go on 3% is if we don't finish by July 1st, we're going to have to pay back pay anyways. And so even if we settle for a lower amount than that, we're probably going to have to pay it out someplace or the other, and it'll be there in the account.
Doug?
Sorry, I'm just trying to put it in context with something you said earlier. So the number of lost injury hours is down significantly versus the prior year.
Correct.
Correct. If I look at this chart, if I'm reading it, but the number of overtime hours is still on pace with a year ago without having to replace those injury hours, and we went into the year more fully staffed.
Correct.
I'm curious, like, those would suggest we'd be trending lower. So I'm missing something. You're explaining it, but I didn't quite follow. Can you just explain again why, if we're needing to replace less injury hours and we're more fully staffed, why would overtime not be trending down year to date?
Because it was under budgeted the last couple of years anyways. So I can go back. I didn't send you last year's thing
No,
where
I don't
we did,
mean
where
on,
we did the hours.
sorry, I don't mean on budget.
Yeah.
I just mean on an actual basis.
So what we have is in fiscal year 22, we had 35,000 overtime hours. In fiscal year 23, we had 33,000 overtime hours. In fiscal year 24, we had about 35,000. And then last year, we ended up a little higher because we had a couple more people off. We projected we were at around 44. It ended up being around 4,000 hours of overtime. And we are still trending to be at 4,000 hours of overtime. Sorry, 40,000. I apologize. One of the things that
How
we.
many vacancies? So I see you have 92 firefighters budget. How many vacancies do you have?
Currently, we have 0.
Okay, that's good.
Correct.
But are they at the fire
For the first
academy
time
or
in
are
a very
they
long
on,
time.
What's that?
are they at the fire academy or is there, I mean, what's the status of,
We have 2 that just came out of the fire academy, and they will be starting on shift this month. And then we talked to Kate, and we overhired by 2 to send 2 to the academy starting this week also, because we believe our number is going to be at least 3 to 5 in August.
so that's another contributing factor to less overtime.
Correct.
You have a fully staffed force for, as you say, Chief McHugh is the first time in a very long time.
Very long time.
Sorry, and forgive me, I'm missing something. We're most fully staffed, we have fewer injuries, but our number of overtime hours is still higher than any year of the last 5 outside of last year. Is what you just said?
Yes, because there's no floaters anymore, so the number has to stay there.
Got it, so, okay. So
Got a little assist there. I want to give Tom credit.
Yeah. Yeah, because the number can't go down without, because the
So
floaters don't
maybe you
exist to
should
help
just
it.
fully explain that. The way it used to work is that the floaters weren't assigned to the stations. So why don't you explain that a little bit?
Right, yeah, so there was 24 on a shift, and so 2 people would have to take off on vacation, sick time, be out on injury before we had to replace it. Right, and so now, our number is 23 that we're operating with right now. And so, we just have to fill the 23.
So to understand, because of that, then you have structurally, the way that you are now organized, you will have structurally higher overtime hours than you did historically.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's more easily budgeted for, so you are unlikely to have to come back for interims like you have had done in the past.
Correct, because, while the floaters are helpful, if I have one shift that's 8 people short and I have one that's full, I can't just tell those floaters because of the contract, hey, I'm transferring you to this shift to get rid of overtime. So it's hopefully going to be a little more cyclical. And then once again, going back to the COVID, vacation holdover that's been kind of used up, we're getting closer to the idea that you have 20 vacation days to use this year. So I know that you're going to be using 20, you're not using 35, right? Because that also is an anomaly that throws off you're looking at the overtime. Because the way I try to do it is I try to do a 5-year look back of the hours base, not the money base, because the money is going to change with the contractual raises and whatnot and the overtime rate. So I try to just look at how many hours the average is of sick time, vacation time, military leave, all of that, and then try to take that into consideration to try to come up with what our number is going to be. And even though we have been over, I've been within 10% of what I thought I was, so that's relatively good, I think, even if it's not, the number that we thought we're going to hope it was going to be.
And I should point out, there was another document that you submitted with a list of questions, and we didn't have the chance to go through that. So
Yeah.
if we still have questions at the end of this, I know we know where to find you, but I appreciate you going through this. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I just have 2 slides here on our fire apparatus and equipment, on what our incoming and outgoing apparatus looks like and our need for replacement. So we do have 2 new engines that we're actually going tomorrow to go look at, to bring back to the town of Greenwich for a final assembly, a walkthrough of them. So they will be here. We have two more engines on order. They will be arriving in 2029. And we have 1 new ladder arriving probably very early in 2029. If stuff picks up, that might be earlier as well, but we don't have any high hopes for how apparatus is being produced at this rate right now. Now, with that being said, we also have, we took order of 2 Tahoes, and a Traverse shift commander's vehicle. They're in the process of being upfitted. That was from last fiscal year as well. However, as we look to the future, we do have 2 20-year-old fire engines that both have over 100,000 miles on it and a good amount of rot, just from the New England salty conditions that we have here. We have 2 12-year-old engines also in the fleet still. There's 2 25-year-old ladder trucks that we're going to have to look at what our plan would be for those in the next coming years. Also, the COSCOP volunteer fire patrol vehicle is 25 years old. That's going to have to be looked at for replacement, as we own that vehicle. And the 16-year-old heavy rescue at Sound Beach, it's on the list because heavy rescue means springs and shocks, and all the working parts of it don't necessarily guarantee that they're going to last for 25 years. So I just wanted to make sure that that was on the list there.
Okay, so just, I'm going to pause for a second. I don't know if have you migrated into Capital now, or are you still in?
No, I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
in, I was just going with 206 is where our apparatus is.
Okay.
So I was just going with,
All right, I'm just checking, thank you.
yeah. Now,
Punches are gonna go.
yeah. So now, I had that slide up about, vehicles that are over 10 years old. And unfortunately, right now, we're averaging over 50% of our fleet has been out of service for long-term repairs. I know that the fleet department is doing everything that they can with the staffing they have. However, we have a loaner engine from Stanford that we're using right now, if you see driving around town, as our spare apparatus. There's still over 160 open work orders right now that need to be fixed either in-house or at a third party. So it's definitely something that's troubling for us from a logistics standpoint, and very hard to manage overall.
All right, so let's spend a few minutes on this. So the way it works historically is there's a heavy mechanic hired in the fleet department to maintain on a regular basis the fire apparatus.
Correct.
And that
But not
position,
specifically the fire apparatus, just
but they have
anything, yeah.
but they have the ability to
do,
work on.
yes, correct.
But has that position been unfilled? Fill me in, because I
I
is it-
don't want to speak on behalf of the fleet department. I know that the amount of mechanics that they have I think it's well below. I think they have 3 or 4 that are working right now due to injuries, retirements, things of
They did
that.
have a retirement all last year, yeah.
So are we still doing it all in-house, or are we having to outsource some of our,
Stuff gets outsourced.
Most of our stuff gets outsourced if it's not directly related to the fire part of stuff. There are people there that can do some minor stuff, but I think also because of the backlog, we send a lot more stuff out to our third-party fire apparatus repair companies. And sometimes if it's engine work too, so there's a cascading effect. So if we have a vehicle that is Seagrave, we go to a Seagrave dealer that is in Windsor, Connecticut. I have to pay firefighters to drive it to Windsor and back again. We have other vehicles that go over to New York and get serviced. If we need springs, we have to bring them up to Hamden. So all of that stuff, ends up coming onto our overtime line as well, because we have to do all the transport of those as well. So there is a cascading effect there.
any questions on that? Okay. I don't know, dare I ask, what's the solution or the remedy, or, I mean, do I not? Okay, well,
That's
we'll
fire
leave that
truck for a
alone.
while, so Fortunately, we're stuck behind the 8 ball now, with these manufacturers, and, we've been crying since I got here about needing fire trucks, so, for this reason.
I will say, and I could say, I think the last, I can't remember if it was 24 or 23 budget, and we can update it. We took what the list of, hey, here's the age of this apparatus, and here's how much the town of Greenwich has spent on repairing it over the years. And you see that the numbers, go astronomically after year 10. So if we're going back like 3 years ago, I know that our 20-year engines were already at $150,000 worth of repairs, and they're much higher than that now. They're probably well over 250,000 in what we're paying for. And so that's a reason of why. I know that, you know, I'm a big fan of having shelf lives, you know, NFPA, you know, our governing, you know, standard says that fire trucks shouldn't be on the road for longer than 25 years. They should only do 10 years in a front response stance, like being the first truck out of the barn. There's a reason for that, because when you look at this entire picture of how much it costs to keep them on the road after a certain point, it definitely has a depreciating value.
Can you just put that in context? So as you mentioned, you know, it costs $200,000 to keep some of these older trucks on the road. For your newer trucks, like much more recent vintage, what is the related cost?
So when you look at the charts, newer vehicles, you're looking at less than like, you know, $10,000 a year. I will say that, you know, some of it we cannot control. So, you know, there's Cummins engines are what's pretty much in every fire truck right now, and they have they have issues with their top ends, with their turbos, and they have to get their pistons bored out again, things like that. We can't control that. That's, you know, the third party of the third party of the third party type of stuff.
But also in the context, our newest fire truck's 7 years old. So, I mean, that's,
No,
that's not new.
Technically not after tomorrow.
Yeah, after tomorrow, yes. Yes, but we won't have that until May.
thank you.
All right, fire buildings.
So fire buildings, there's no changes of note budgetarily wise. However, I know in the further lookout in the Capitol is trying to refurb the Sound Beach station, and I just wanted to put that in there as a note, as it is a building that is falling apart.
In the same building that, when I was a volunteer, it looks the same as I was in 1989, 90 when I left, so.
You look exactly the same as well.
I wish, yeah. I put a little bit more muscle on, but other than that. I like that one.
Good afternoon. Tom Leonard, Assistant Chief. Just with, as far as the volunteers are concerned, so currently, you can see in the slide here, we have about 60 interior certified firefighters. We have 18 exterior certified firefighters. The colors underneath are just their tag. That's internally how we classify them. In 2025, we took in 12, fully onboarded 12 new firefighters. 7 of them completed firefighter 1, which is the minimum requirement to go into a burning building in the state of Connecticut. We had 3 other volunteer firefighters who were onboarded in 24 complete the firefighter 1, so we had 10 new firefighters obtain firefighter 1 in 2025. Toward the end of 25 in November, we received a donation of $10,000 from a private person to produce a recruitment video for the volunteers professionally. We worked with New York University, their film school, and much more intricate than I thought it was going to be, but we, over a course of a couple days, and then they prepared, and then the volunteer firefighters in town on the Saturday of Thanksgiving spent well over 12 hours shooting a recruitment video professionally that we're expecting, we've seen a rough cut of it, and we're expecting it sometimes this month. It was going out for, sound and editing and things like that. And then the last thing we did, which we did receive a lot of good feedback on, is we sent out a survey to our volunteer members to all the companies, and we did receive some good feedback on that, and I work with the volunteer chiefs. I meet with them every month, and to get the results of that survey and to try and make some changes to some of the ideas that the volunteers presented to us. And we received a lot of good feedback on both the recruitment video and the survey. So that's kind of where our volunteers personnel stand right now. And we did work to strengthen the onboarding process with the volunteer chiefs, some of their feedback as well, since I came on board in June and kind of took over as a liaison with our volunteer chiefs.
So, you going?
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Yeah, looking at the budget, I see there's a good increase for Round Hill, but a 0 increase for Banksville. Could you speak to those?
Yep, did anybody have any more questions for me? Doug, did you?
Sorry, I
I'm
just
sorry.
wanted to
That's okay.
understand the context. first of all, thank to all the folks volunteering to do this and all their work. Is 12 a typical kind of onboarding of volunteers, or how does it kind of ebb and flow year to year?
Yeah, we received a bunch more applications than that. However, for various reasons, some people didn't go through the onboarding process, or, we do some initial training to kind of, for lack of a better term, weed out on who's not going to. I think fully onboarding 12 new volunteers is a pretty good number. Obviously, in my position, I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
Now, we will going forward. But I think if you look nationally, I'm sure everybody in the room knows what's going on. Volunteer fire departments are really down. We're losing firefighters in both career, and we see our applications for the career side, and volunteer firefighters are declining. And so I think, a couple initiatives, other onboarding initiatives that we did with some advertising and things like that. I think 12 is I think it's a pretty good number to fully onboard 12 people, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why is it declining? I mean, I did it for 10 years, and I enjoyed it, it was tons of fun, and is it not fun anymore?
I think the commitment that's required nationally in getting a firefighter one, the mandatory the training that's required, the time, people, everybody knows here, life, working a lot more, kids, if you have a family, the requirements on a family, and, a lot of, everywhere we go, every training class I go to, every meeting we go to, we hear about the generational thing, especially in the fire service. That people just don't want to work like in this field anymore. I think in for lack of a better term, like blue collar, public safety. I mean, on our career side, our last test we gave 2 years ago, we only had 175. 149 people sit for the test. I think 25 years ago when I took it, we sat in Greenwich High School and there was 600 people, 700 people sitting there. We had 149 people sit for the test. And there's other reasons, but it's just a lot of, in all the recruitment and volunteering career, just the numbers are dwindling in people who want to enter this field.
The big thing is
Chief
too is
McKeegan,
that,
if you could
like-
just use the mic just for GCTV. I mean, you have a booming voice, but just.
Sorry about that. What you call it? The other part is like young people today, like I use my son and his friends. They're so busy with sports or other activities and things like that. And then when we need to catch them, they get them interested. Like I got interested when I was 16 years old. They're going off to college because they can't be a volunteer until they're 18. These are mandated regulations. So then they have to take, and all the people too. I've met so many people interviewing them to be in the volunteers. But when they find to take a 175-hour firefighter one course, and everybody is busy. We don't have to talk, everybody in this room is busy. It's tough it definitely plays a role in the lack of recruitment.
Thank you for that. Getting a little off the budget topic, sorry, but if you want our help in helping to recruit, certainly around town.
I
hall,
usually
so-
sing when I get a microphone, man.
Oh, we were actually hoping to debut the recruitment video here today, but apparently it's
not-
still
not
in
re-
final editing
It's
stages.
not ready yet. Yeah, it's
so-
not ready yet.
But
So
hopefully that'll get widespread viewing and, between TikTok and social media, you'll maybe get us.
Yeah, you'll see it. It'll be a lot.
Yeah. All right, I think, Charlie, you're going to answer Doug's question. Thank you,
And
Tom.
if I could just add one more thing to that, Mr. Kelly. I think Tom's has done a great job, and Justin before him did a great job with the recruitment part. It's the retention part that, like Chief McHugh just said, you bring them in the door, it's great, but now we have 175 hours of this. And then we're talking about, especially if we're talking about the younger demographic, they're trying to do college, they're trying to start their career. A lot of people trying to do finance here, which means they're probably going to Stanford or they're going to the city every day. And then we're saying, hey, we need you to come and train a couple nights a month. You got to do hours in a firehouse. It becomes a lot. And so it's trying to find that inclusivity to try to keep them retained in the level that they want to help as a volunteer.
You want us old guys coming back? You want-
We'll take whatever we can get. What was the last question?
So my
So,
question had to do with the.
Oh, sorry, that was her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have
Yes.
something?
No, no,
else?
that was your question. Repeat the question.
Yeah, it was the contribution to Round Hill's gone up nicely, but there's no increase in the contribution to Banksville. Is there something behind that?
Banksville did not ask for any increase in funding.
Oh, okay.
And we went through the budget with Round Hill, and we were able to come up with that number of, I believe it's 127. And then I did send the documents requested to.
Yeah, I saw that.
Agnes.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so we just went through the operating budget. Do we have any other questions? Can I just go back to the TOO, and I might have missed it if it was an interim, but there's a new 1.0, or maybe it's not new, help me out, for an IT communication liaison?
So that was part of the reorganization last year. It has not been hired yet because our TOO is still at top. So we can't hire above for that position. So as somebody retires, then we'll be able to recruit and hire that position.
Can you just briefly explain what that position, what's the utility, what's the purpose? How do you see that working?
So a large amount of the IT services that the fire department use are not supported by the town of Greenwich IT. And that's because everything that we use needs to be mobile. So trying to log into a town computer to do stuff isn't how we kind of operate. So we operate off of SIM cards when we're in the field. So we use Cradlepoint. We use a company that then manages all of our iPads for us. You know, we have 100 some odd portable radios that are supported to a certain point by the police IT, which is great. But then our third-party software for incident reporting. So let's say we have someone doing a fire report and information didn't get pulled in. Well, we have to talk to the police IT to see if they know anything. And then we might have to call our CAD provider to see if there's something wrong with the API. Then we might have to talk to another third party that gets information sent to it to see if their links are up and going. So it's very time consuming. Altogether, there's probably over 10 or 12 different third-party programs that we use to provide the data that, to get the data that we need to report by statute and to make it easy for us to, to do our jobs, to get pre-planned information while going to calls. All of that stuff has to have links to certain things and be up and running all the time for us. And unfortunately, right now, I'm your IT person on top of trying to do a lot of other administrative jobs. And a lot of these are very time consuming, especially if you're not an IT person at heart, right? So, or classically trained IT person. I don't know if that actually exists, but so this will make it much easier to be able to handle a lot of this stuff. One of the things is, IT just helped us. We've been having problems with we have CAD boards that tell our firefighters who's on duty, where the call is, things of that nature, and we're trying to update that. That's one of our capital projects coming up, but we haven't been able to fix a problem that we're having because we're just not technical savvy enough to know why they stopped working. And it's a lot of phone calls going back and forth, and town IT was able to show us a product that they're trying right now. So now we're trying it as well. So we do have a working relationship. It's just that most of what we do is from a third-party cloud-based solution that's not run by the town of Greenwich, or it's not on a server for here.
Yeah, I thought in discussions that you had someone internal you'd identified for this role. Am I mistaken in my memory?
Yes, but they were not interested in it at the time. And then at that point, we had already filled up everything. So we don't have a spot
have a
available
slot, yeah.
without making the overtime as we're in this interim process of seeing if we're going to keep it in this alignment.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, do we have any questions from? No? All right, are we ready to move to capital? Oh, sorry, Elliot, go ahead.
Thank you. I have a question regarding fire suppression. And I understand that some towns in Westchester require fire suppression in their building code. What's your opinion on that? And is that something you think would help our community, might lessen the burden on your department?
You mean like residential sprinkler systems?
Yeah,
stuff like that?
residential sprinkler.
Yeah, so I would say sprinklers are good, fire protection is good, fire detection is good. Having interconnected working smoke detectors to alert you to a fire is good. I think where you get into a interesting conundrum here, especially in the town of Greenwich, is you have a lot of high-value dollar properties that worry about a broken sprinkler line. That could cause millions of damage. And I think that's and then you'd have to get insurance companies, be like, well, I put sprinklers in my house. Why did my insurance, cost go up so much? Because of the, perceived cost of damage. So I think that's an interesting argument that we would have in here. In general, like I said, fire protection is great, and especially if you have the ability to make sure that you can get out of your house safely when there is a fire.
But it's not something you think we should add to our code, our building code?
At this point, I think it would be pretty tough to go through with that.
Before we move to capital, can you just comment on our insurance rating? Our ISO or?
Yeah,
Can
so,
you just comment on that? Because I think we've had some improvements.
No, well, so they do a review every 7 to 10 years. Their schedule's supposed to be 7 years, but I believe there's only one person assigned to the entire state of Connecticut right now for Verisk, which is the company that runs ISO. And ours was done in 2019?
Yeah, it was done before I got.
I believe it was 2019. So currently, we're in ISO 2Y, so that's in the area with pressurized water supply downtown, south of the Merritt Parkway, we're a 2, and then we're 2Y for response in the rural district as well.
And just what does that mean for the layperson? Is that good,
So
bad, mid?
I will tell you that there is a scale from 1 to 10, and the number, 1 being the highest, the number of highly rated has increased because they've changed their rating system. So there are a lot more 2s than they were. I don't know what the number is as well at this point.
But we're in good shape.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I think we're going to pivot to capital, if that's okay? I'm just looking, we start by looking at the open capital. I don't know if you have the report that was run by Agnes as of August 30th or not in
I
front
don't
of you?
have it in front of me, but I can comment on it.
Okay, looking at it, other than the Round Hill Fire Station, which we know that's a project that we've been talking about for a while, it looks like most of your projects are just from fiscal '26, and there's only a few from fiscal '25. The response computer hardware, there's 65,000 in available budget. Technical rescue equipment, 55,000 in available budget. And then used fire engine, it looks like there's a little bit left. Do you know about the status of those?
So the
You can get back
IT
to us if I'm,
No, so the IT is not completed just because of lack of personnel to be able to complete the project. We don't want to buy, technology is one of those things that you can't just buy the hard product and not install it for 2 or 3 years, because by the time you install it, it's already old and needs to be replaced. So that is why we have been sitting on that. The fire truck that was purchased, that should be ready to be closed out. And then the rescue equipment is still open because we're just waiting on stuff that is back ordered.
any other questions on open capital? Okay. All right, so we're moving to the capital book. So you have a presentation, but we're going to follow along in our book, I think, as well, if that's okay?
Yeah, it's just, I just have this as a talking point.
All right, so should we just go through this? The first one is the fire hose supply update, 25,000. This seems pretty important.
Yes, so we started this a couple years ago. It's over a 10-year span of $25,000 every other year to replace aging hose. So our supply line, a good amount of it, that's the 5-inch hose that you put in the road to extend a water main, if you will, so we can fight a fire in an area that doesn't have readily accessible water. Over like 50% of it when we started this was over 20 years old. So, hose, it's made of rubber. Rubber breaks down, increases friction loss, makes it less efficient for us to get that water to where we need it. So we're trying to get rid of that aged hose, and we're trying to put new hose on the apparatus. So as for a point of reference, each one of our pumper trucks carries somewhere from 12 to 1,500 feet of this. Each length is around 100 feet. It is 100 feet, and they all cost around $1,000 a piece. So that is why it's such a long-term project to try to age it out, and as we go forward, 10 years from now, it wouldn't be the sticker shock of, oh, we're replacing it all at once, we're doing it a little bit over time.
And are we comfortable this is a capital expense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Long way.
Yes. Laura, just as a point, in 205, there is also a fire hose line, and that is to replace the 1.75-inch hose, which is the hose that we bring into buildings to fight fires. That does not last 20 years.
Thank you. All right, next is the self-contained breathing apparatus replacement. Looks like this is year 2.
Yes, yep, so this is a two-part project to replace all of our self-contained breathing apparatus, as well as the associated bottles that we wear that hold the air, and includes the updated standard for fire ground tracking. Right, so it'll have the ability to turn on an air pack and know that there's a firefighter on the scene, where he is, and if he gets into trouble, he can hit a button that'll be translated to somebody. Right now, if someone hits that button, it just makes a sound, and someone has to hear it. So this will have Bluetooth capabilities to send a signal back, hey, someone has an issue, and so it increases our safety. One thing that we do see is having Scott air packs right now, our SCBAs that are roughly around 15 years old, increased maintenance. The maintenance on them is relatively frequent, and it's probably in this year, it'll probably be in the $20,000 to $25,000 category of how much we're spending to fix these packs. Now, with that being said, they just approved the new standard, so these packs are starting to roll out now because they have because the standard cycle is 7 years. That's why they suggest you replace it between 14 and 15 years, because that's 2 NFPA revision cycles. No one was going to buy anything that had a sticker on it from 2018, when if you get the sticker from 2026, it automatically adds 7 years to your PAC's capability and lifespan.
Any questions?
So we're on a typical, sorry. As you said, these are 15 years old. This is a 14 to 15 year best practice replacement cycle.
Correct.
So we're on that. And then, as you mentioned, obviously there are benefits to safety, which is great. Are there any incremental costs or savings? I guess you mentioned about $25,000 of maintenance.
Yes, because the new packs will have a bumper-to-bumper warranty on them for parts. I don't know if the labor is included. I don't have that yet. I don't think that they've come out with that number yet, because they haven't released every single one. But we've had demo packs from 3 major manufacturers, tried it out, had our firefighters go into building, training fires with them, see which ones they like better. Once they get the final approval of that NFPA sticker that can go on every one for 2025 or 2026 edition, then us with the rest of the world will be buying them.
So is the intent to wait till after July 1st to buy them and do it all in one fell swoop, or are you going to phase it? I see you have a
No, we
quote
will-
from September,
We will
so I don't know.
start, I think everybody was assuming that the NFPA approval was going to be completed. So just like anything, if you're going to go to, UL or NFPA or NIST or any of these companies, and you want to have your patented item approved for safe use for OSHA and everything else, you're probably looking at, depending on what you want to put up there, a $2 to $5 million process of independent testing that you have to do. When that is completed, then they'll be able to release them all for sale. They just haven't been released for sale yet from any of the manufacturers. That's why we haven't purchased them.
So, just one more follow-up. What is this, I know fire trucks are different category of how long they take. Is this something you'll place the order, you'll get them in a month or two, or what is the back order, if any?
They haven't even told us what the lead time is. I do know that most of the manufacturers are already making the packs, assuming that they're going to be already approved when they're done with all of the final testing for it. So I believe it won't be that long.
Leslie?
Yes, I have 2 questions. The first one is this for both the professional career firefighters and the volunteers, or only career? And my second question is Are there any state grants that would be available for this kind of equipment?
Leslie, it's lovely to hear your voice. There is, these are for career and volunteer. All the trucks are outfitted the same, and the only funding that would be available for it would be assistance to firefighters. However, it would be a hard sell for the town of Greenwich to get a grant that large.
Thank you.
Thermal imaging, any questions? Volunteer tankers, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so do you have, I just want to make sure you have the updated SIP sheet for this, because it was changed a couple weeks ago.
That would be a question for Agnes. I don't think that we do.
Current request 1.1 million. Three tanks.
No, it should be
We have a
for
sheet
volunteer
dated-
tankers and support apparatus. Okay.
All right, you can get it. Why don't you walk us through it, and
Okay,
we can follow up with the updated sheet.
So since this was approved last year, there were some changes in the status of the fleet. One of them being that, the current tanker that's owned by Round Hill is, it's on the older side, it's 25 years old. It has a significant amount of work that needs to be done to it. It's currently out of service. So trying to figure out a short and long-term solution for that issue. We've been talking to the Round Hill Fire Company and the town administrator about if Round Hill will cover the cost of repairing their current tanker for the short time, that we would be able to purchase a tanker with town funds for their use in the longer term, saying that you're looking at, 3 to 4 years for completion for that. Go.
Okay, so let's just pause on that.
Yeah.
So the 25-year-old tanker still has some life left into it if we repair it. Is that the assumption, or is that the
So-
working assumption?
The tanker that we're speaking of is owned by the Round Hill Fire Company, and we do not think it's fiscally responsible to put a ton of funds into that, which is why we would rather put the money in a brand-new tanker from the town side of stuff. But the Round Hill Fire Company said that they would be able to come up with the funds to be able to get that back on the road within 6 months, and we'd be able to get, we have no idea what the amount of time frame is, but
Okay, so they're saying that's what they want to do, and you're saying fine. But in the meantime, what you're suggesting is the town, instead of paying 50% of the cost towards a new tanker to be housed at Round Hill Volunteer Fire Station, you're saying, let's pay the entire cost and let's get an order in and get a delivery
Correct.
date of, how, I don't know what the
yeah.
lead time is.
You'd be
but-
looking at probably 36 months, but obviously it's when the budget gets passed, if it gets passed, and then we'd have to have conversations on what the build is, and then from when you place the order, you're looking at about 36 months.
And what's the, so it's 450 for half a tanker, is it 900,000 or is it more? What's the,
Well, because it's going to be a little further out, we put it at $1 million, so that there's a little bit more in case the price goes up like everything else does.
okay?
And then the part of, with that, with the price going up and when Banksville ordered their tanker, so we upped that amount to 450. It was lower last time. All right, and that's for the difference in the price of what it's costing for their tanker as well. And then the third thing was the Sound Beach Volunteer Fire Department came to us, fire company came to us with a request for matching funds for a technical rescue support vehicle. They have one right now that is pretty close to end of life. It's an older kind of Unimog style vehicle. And they were able to get a donation of $150,000 from the Sound Beach Foundation for their vehicle. And we believe that the price of the vehicle would be right in the $300,000 area, which is why we were looking for matching funds in that private-public partnership. And then I don't have it in front of me, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
And there's a little bit extra left, and that was for refurbishment and upgrading of some of the other support units that only Sound Beach owns. So Sound Beach, we have an agreement with them that when there is a technical rescue incident, because they have needed equipment, if there are no volunteers in the station, we can take them out. So it'll give us the ability to update some of their other vehicles as well that we use in a coordination with them, that they paid for outright.
Okay, let's go back to the Banksville tanker for a second. So we're contributing essentially half of the cost. The tanker would be owned by Banksville.
Correct.
Okay, and then there was a third tanker also owned by the town.
That
Or
has
is
been removed.
We're removing it. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, that's helpful. Joe?
Okay, we need revised sheets on these, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of talk about theirs and ours. I'm confused on that. We're putting the town money into something, and them are owning it rather than I'm speaking the us as far as I guess we're all the us here, and you're saying they own it. Wouldn't we want to own all the stuff we're putting money into?
On the Banksville side of stuff, it has been, as far as I was told, and I've only been here 5 years, Joe, so, that when they purchased tankers, we give a donation towards that, since they provide 2 tankers to the town of Greenwich, and for their use in our town. And I think it's, is it 50% of their call volumes in Greenwich?
Yeah, correct. So
Yeah.
when they have an agreement back in the day where,
Right, Joe.
It was an agreement a long, long time ago, where they agreed to respond to some of our responses within town to kind of ease with the call volume for us. So always in the past, like Chief Ludwig was saying, we've kind of helped them, support them, give them some money towards their fire apparatus, which are, they guarantee, or for the most part, to come into our town to help us put out fires and things like that.
So there'll be an agreement, but I'm just taking my business hat and putting it on and saying that if I'm going to ask the taxpayers of Greenwich to pay for something, I want to own that. I don't mind making an agreement with Banksville or whatever fire company we're agreeing with where they can have use of that. But I would think maybe I'm wrong, but I would think it's easy for us to allocate money to things that we're going to own in the future rather than things that are going to be owned by, you refer to them as the them. I don't know, is it us and them semantics, or is it really us and them? There's a real issue here with us and them.
Well, I wouldn't be able to speak on the legal or finance side of us co-owning a truck with a different town. So while they exist for response in the charter, all of their equipment is owned by, North Castle. And this has been something that we have done going back, for, I believe, many years. I know that we've given donations for the last 2 tankers as well.
And we don't pay to maintain those vehicles. We give them the money and that's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they take care of their maintenance and stuff like that.
I'll just speak for myself.
We're not in the arm for that, we don't split, they need new tires, and we give them money for that.
Which I'm great making
right.
agreements out, but it's easier for me
I get
to
it.
understand owning as assets that we own going forward for. Right.
Yeah, and then, on the Round Hill part of that, in return for Round Hill taking money out of their own fund as an independent company and fundraising for anything that would be needed to fix that tanker, while I'm sure Round Hill would love to be able to outright own all of their own apparatus, it's an easier thing for us to do in the town of Greenwich to be able to say, hey, we can purchase this and have an agreement that you will use it for response to the town of Greenwich within our own town, and maintain it as properly and anything that goes along with that.
Thank you.
Harry, do you have a
No,
question?
thanks.
Are those agreements with both Banksville and Round Hill, are they codified in writing, or is it just an understood handshake agreement? And when it comes to,
I would have to, I'd have to look.
when it
look
comes to
that up.
assets and property and who owns title,
It's one of those,
It would be nice to have
Okay, good.
it'd be nice to have an MOU or something of some kind. I'm not asking for an extensive legal document, but these are taxpayer
I
funds, so it would be good to.
I believe Kate Bush is looking into that as well,
Okay,
because that was a question that came up before.
okay. So we will be getting updated CIP sheets, which you've already done them.
Yes.
That would be great. All right, Agnes, so that's a follow-up item? Any further questions on the thing? Leslie, you have a question?
There is an ordinance that actually gives certain territory of the town for firefighting to Round Hill and to Banksville, for the backcountry to Banksville. So that's in our ordinances, and more recently, there was an MOU that was with, I believe, all the volunteer fire companies and the fire department, so that has been done in a fairly recent time. And in addition to this, there are also certain operating things that we do, I believe. Don't we have insurance programs, or they can also be tagged firefighters over there, and we also pay for them. And if they live in the town of Greenwich, they volunteer for the Banksville company and they're tagged appropriately, they also get the tax credit. I believe that's all part of this whole working cooperatively with the people over the border, but who are really part of the town, the backcountry town. That firehouse is basically just barely over the border.
But just to that point, those response districts are in, the 1930 charter. So we don't operate necessarily that way anymore, and we'll ask Banksville or Round Hill to go pretty much anywhere. And in the world of charter review, if I may put it out there, me and Tom's jobs don't exist.
Yeah, don't forget that.
All right, it would be good to sort of put what's into practice into some sort of
Yes.
written document of some kind. Okay, so now I think we're moving on to firefighter alerting. Again, this seems also very important. Tell us about this.
Yes, so currently we use a system called the Zetron alerting system, and so it happens by over copper phone lines to each firehouse, and there is a backup microwave system that goes to an alerting box to make sure that, this is on the station side of it, not on, we'll get into the other part in a second there. To make sure that the tones go off, the lights, things like that, and it's when the dispatch entered that we pay a separate service to send out a signal through the CAD, over the airwaves to your phone or to your pager to tell you, hey, that there's a call coming in if you're on the volunteer side of things. So as time has went by, that system is now end of life. And we've incurred over $25,000 this year just trying to keep it up and running. It's trying to get parts from third parties, from all different kinds of stuff to try to get it together just to keep them up and running. So we're asking to be able to upgrade this to a digital cloud-based system. There is a higher maintenance cost involved with this than in the Zetron. The Zetron was literally just a licensing fee of a couple $1,000s that since it went end of life, I'll be honest, I don't even know if we still, I forgot to look to see if we even still paid it. However, this will give us the ability to consolidate some of our other things, so we will be able to absorb it by getting rid of some of the other programs that we do. Instead of having alerting software over here for volunteers, alerting software over here for your cell phone, and stations over here, it's all going to be able to come into one. And the redundancy on it is cell-based, so there'll be SIM cards in each of the units that will then receive over the air if the voice over IP doesn't come over the first time.
Just, can you just give context around this one? So as you mentioned, SCBA, every 14 years, 2 NFPA cycles. Is this the SEM NFPA here that you're aligned with? And what is
Yes,
the appropriate cycle here?
There's not necessarily a cycle. There hasn't been in the past because it's such an expensive item to put in the first place. So while there is a standard, the standards in radio reporting, which is in the 1200s, I think it's 1225, it's more about redundancy of your system and having generator power, battery backup, other ways of alerting people, more so than an end of life on it.
Got it.
Now, sorry, just one more
Yeah,
thing.
please.
One of the big things that happened in the last 10 years is is having digital encryption capability for not only, possibly your over-the-air, but also for anything that might be sent to a cell phone or to a pager, a volunteer pager. And so that's where I talk about the P25 encryption, because the town of Greenwich uses the Motorola system, and that includes a second layer of P25 encryption that is required. And that is no different than when you look at your credit card that has 12 digits and realize that it's really a 40-digit number, and you only see half of it.
And so just to, how old is the existing system, roughly? Sounds like very old.
Yeah, we think at least 15 years old, which a lot of technology has changed in that.
So for example, when Byram was redone, did we just transfer the old system over?
Correct.
Okay. And so it says 7 stations. Does that include Round Hill
It includes Round Hill and Banksville.
and Banksville?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's the stations. Any questions about the stations? No. Okay, the next part? Is there another part of that?
No, I worked in the volunteer paging part of it as well.
Okay, all right. Are there any other questions for the fire department? Thank you all. Thank you to the entire
Very much
team.
for your time.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. If we, please get Agnes the CIP sheet if there's
Yes.
any additional questions or clarification questions after we look through some of the material. We will get back to you through Agnes.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Would have worn my white shirt if I knew.
All right, hang on. I think we are done for the day. So
Motion to adjourn.
hang on. Before we adjourn, I just want to preview on Thursday, we have the Board of Ed coming at 9 o'clock for a full day. This Thursday. We're going to start with operating and then finish up with capital. And then we have a week off, and then we have DPW on the day after President's Day, so the 17th. All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, adjourn at 2:31.